at the end of your life, say you lived a long life, 80, 90 years old, 100 years old, and you're no longer here, what do you want people to say about you? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want them to see that I was just a vessel of God. I want them to see and hear that I didn't give up because of Felix. I was able to not achieve, but understand why I was called to do in this earth thanks to my conversation with Felix. And I don't want to make it about me, but I do want to be a tool. And I know I am a tool, a vessel that God uses to bless others. So I want to make sure that people see hard work. People remember excellence. But most importantly, that people remember that every interaction I had with them, even a text or a phone or a hug or a handshake, whatever it is, that I was fully there with them and that they felt my love. Because people want to feel loved and valued. And sometimes we lose sight of that. So that's how I want to be remembered.
What's up, brother?
What is going on, Jonah? How are you?
Felix, welcome to the podcast.
Man, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here with you.
I gotta say, bro, we haven't even known each other a year. Dude, it feels like I've known you for 10 years.
Yes.
Just the amount of you being in the business and seeing your level of charisma, the way you care about agents, the way you carry yourself, how much of a beast you are on the phones and everything else. You're a huge part of Prosper. And you've made a big impact on our business in the short period of time where we've been here. So we just wanted to start that out, and I'm excited to dive into your story, hear about just your experience in insurance, what led you to the broker side and everything else. So welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Man, thank you for having me, bro. I'm extremely thankful to be part of this team. And where do I start, brother? I mean, you're right. We haven't met each other for a year. I think it's only 10 months.
Start about your journey in insurance. Give people a brief backstory on how long you've been doing this and just what made you want to get your insurance license.
Yeah. So I'm going on my 11th year right now. And a quick story around how I got into insurance. I mean, I grew up in a very close family in Puerto Rico. My dad and my mom got divorced when I was only 1, but they have a really good relationship. And the reason of why I'm bringing this up is because every weekend that my dad will go pick me up from my mom's house, it was about a 45-minute drive. And the whole time, being a kid, he's talking to me about insurance, about the business, about how important it is to protect your assets, about very technical. My dad, the way he always showed me his love was through being a business mentor. There was not a lot of sugarcoating in the house. I got that from my mom, but it was more the way he showed me his love was talking about business, talking about how to generate profit. But most importantly, and Jonah, this is what always stuck with me. He said, the way you lead yourself first is the way that you will eventually lead others. And at the end of the day, the most important thing that a business can have is the people. So that always struck with me. And this was when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. So you can imagine growing up in the household where I even went to school for insurance, right? So when I grew up in that environment, it was always a performance-based environment in a way where I think the way, and this is just back then thinking, the way he would love me is if I was performing. So that always struck with me. And, I always had that chip on my shoulder, also being the oldest of 4 in the family. But then he always pitched, you got to move out of Puerto Rico. We live in an island. There's about 3 million people. He insures on his business about 60% of the people there. So he said, you have to fly. You have to expand your wings like a lot of us have done. I mean, you did it from a small town in South Dakota to Chicago to now Tampa. So that's why he always pitched. You got to go for more and you have to dream bigger, but it starts with you. So fast forwarding that to me moving into the United States, where I graduated here, I studied risk management in Miami, and then I went to New York. It was always about that corporate world, right? It was always about once you graduate, you get your degree, which is kind of different from what we're used to having in the brokerage model, which I know we'll get to in a second. And it was always be prepared. Be prepared, especially because you're young. And you and I both know, Jonah, that this industry, I mean, it has been shifting, but the average age of insurance agents a few years ago was around the mid 50s.
Yep. And a lot of people are retiring.
A lot of people are retiring, right? I mean, you will show up to at least the way I was taught, with your briefcase, with your suit and the tie.
The baggy khaki
the
pants.
baggy khaki, yep. That's the way I was taught. And I was like, well, I'm so young. We got to revolutionize this, because insurance, if you go that route, it's boring.
We got to make insurance sexy.
We got to make insurance sexy, man.
Yes.
But in the corporate world, as I was growing up, I started only at 20 years old. I was doing car insurance. And man, it was cold calling. They didn't tell me back then that it was cold calling. They just said all these people are interested. But a lot of the people that I call, they were not even the right people. And you know what went through my head when I was doing all that cold calling? Number one, you got to be careful, because you can start victimizing yourself and feeling sorry for yourself. And what helped me shift the mindset was that at the end of the day, I had the blessing to be talking to people. I didn't care if it wasn't the right number or the right person. The fact that I was able to get them on the phone for 5 seconds helped me improve my skill set and say, I'm getting people on the phone. So it's on me. It's on me to connect. It's on me to build some rapport. If they give me the chance to at least talk to them for 5 minutes, I know I'm going to be able to help them out. So that's how my career started on insurance, literally cold calling for car insurance. Now, fast forward.
What did the commission look like on that?
You don't want to know. So let's get to it. So for example, I moved out of my house at 18, moved to the United States, and I just didn't have a choice to go back. I couldn't fail. Especially, I don't know if it was ego. I don't know if it was just my way of showing that, hey, and a lot of people ask, so why don't you work with your dad? Why didn't you start working with him? Because nothing was handed. He can be a multimillionaire, but that's him. He did that. He's doing that. I'm a different person. So I wanted to make sure that I was away from that, because I didn't want people to see my value by who my dad was.
Yeah.
So when I moved to the States, to answer your question, I would be getting paid. And this was not too long ago. I mean, this was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. It was $10.50 an hour. I remember. And I was the assistant manager of the office, $10.50 an hour. And every commission that I would sell, I would get $25.
Man.
To the point, Jonah, that I had to get a part-time job at Costco in the bakery department. I would make more money at Costco for the first years than I actually did in insurance.
And that's the thing people need to realize, where I always say, I wish everybody we hired had prior insurance experience to realize how good we truly have it here.
Yeah.
And what it's truly. And so,
yeah,
it's funny you say that, because I had a very similar upbringing with my dad, where very hard on me, tough love. And as soon as I was 18, he's like, all right, well, you're on your own. It's time to be your own man and build your own thing. And that's exactly what I did. But I'm so thankful for that, because that gave me the work ethic and the tenacity, and more importantly, the grit that I have. Without that, I wouldn't possess any of those attributes and those characteristics. So
right. And I think
that tough love is powerful.
And I think that's one of the reasons you and I connect so well, because it's about respect, right? At the end of the day, you got to get into this business with the right people.
Yes.
Right. And I know we're going to touch upon that. But I do want to talk about how from there I got into the corporate world, because I did want to get into the corporate world. Straight honestly, I just didn't know the opportunity that we have here now. I didn't know the potential. I always saw it from afar out. And we always tend to do that as humans. I mean, if there's anything I want people to take away from this, Jonah, is number one, that you can do this. And you can do this at a very, very high scale. But number two, to not judge from the outside, because sometimes when you judge, that can mean a lack of knowledge and a lack of ignorance, or just being ignorant into the opportunity. And that was me. I was ignorant. I would look at people like you from the outside and say, yeah, that's all fake. That's not true. I don't believe that.
Those cars are rented.
Yeah.
That house, he's not really making that much money.
Right.
That's not real.
Or they're shallow. Because I saw money from early on. Like
over 100% commission.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
You own your book? Not really. Because look, when I was in my previous corporate, that I was there for 7 years, and I don't regret it. People ask me, do you regret it? I don't regret it. I just wish I knew earlier about the opportunity, or rather that I would have taken the chance way earlier, not at 31 now.
Yeah.
But it helped, because they teach you a lot about system. If corporations do something well, is that they brainwash you, right? Where there's get to a point that I was reciting at 9 the core values of the company, right? And the identity became the company. So I wasn't Felix Garcia. I am X title for this company. And I measure my identity by my salary. And that's the worst drug ever, the salary piece.
Yeah. Yeah. What were a few lessons that you learned working in the corporate world?
Leadership, making sure that you know if they do something well is that they establish strong managerial programs to be able to lead, thousands of people, because then you're playing the telephone game to coach a manager, that those managers will coach your supervisors, that those supervisors will coach the agents. You have to be so strong with processes. You have to be so strong. That's number one. It's the
only way to scale.
It's the only way to scale. Because if it's not predictable and you don't have a process, then, and we always talk about this, you can't scale chaos. You just can't, right? Because at the end of the day, the only way you grow is through different processes at the next level. So I learned processes.
Yeah. So what would you say to the person watching this right now where he wants to build his own sales team, but he's like, hey, my guys don't listen to me, or they're not motivated, or they're not showing up the way I want them to show up, and he wants to incorporate more structure within his group? Because like you said, there's certain good things you can learn from the corporate world, and then there's bad things. But the good things is the structure, because without structure, without organization, without everybody, playing their, dude, you can't grow a business like that. If everybody's running around like a chickens with their heads cut off, that's simply chaos. So what advice would you give to that person or that manager?
Yeah. First and foremost, it starts with you. You can't create a process if you haven't developed it your own self. When I came into this, I hit my head against the wall a lot because I wanted to build a process, but I wasn't even mastering the process myself. So I learned that in order for people to really trust and follow your vision, they need to trust and follow you first. And the only way that they can do that is that if they see it firsthand with results and they see you doing it day in and day out. And I had to normalize that because I had a false expectation coming into the business where, because of all my experience, people were just going to buy into me because of my resume and say, oh, I trust Felix. I have my charisma. I know that. It's a calling I have from God, but that can only get you so far. You still want to prove results, and people got to see it in action.
Speaking of which, I just finished it yesterday, but a great book is Managing Oneself by Peter Drucker, where it's before you can manage others, dude, managing others, you got to learn how to manage yourself first. Yep. And you got to learn how to develop yourself, because it's like this thing we've all heard is your people don't do what you say, they do what you do.
What you do.
Well, so 100%. You got to do it first. You got to walk the walk, lead by example. One of the best pieces of advice I got was from my father. He said, Jonah, I'm never going to tell you something that I either have not done or I'm not willing to do. Right. And he told me that at 7 years old, and that stuck with me. And I've always applied that to business. It's one of the best lessons I've ever learned.
Of course. And the other tip that I will say, to answer your question, Jonah, is you have to normalize that it's not going to be fast. We live, and I call this, and we've talked about it, in this microwave society where it's like, I put the food in, 2 minutes, it's ready, I'm done. No, you really have to master that, because at the end of the day, while you're doing it, you're recording yourself, you're creating processes. So then when you teach 1, you teach 2, you teach 10, you teach 100, you can say, I've done it. And when they come to you with questions, you can say, this is what I did when I was in that position. And that gives you so much credibility, because a lot of people just think I'm a leader because I have charisma, or I've done it in the past. By the way, nobody cares what you did yesterday, last week. They only care about what you can do for them. So that stuck with me for a while. And then while I was doing that, I just make sure, and I still do, that I'm a student of life, that I know I don't know at all. And I need to be surrounding myself with people that will not be afraid of call me out on my BS. That's big.
Play your brother's card.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
we're not calling each other out. We're calling each other up.
Each other up, man. Each other up. And I think, when I was in corporate and I would make good money, right? I make 6 figures, low 6 figures since my 24s, let's say. And you're how old?
25.
25. So I started to think, and I said, I'm trading my energy and my time for this fixed salary. in our call center, we sold almost $800 million in revenue, John, in about 5 years. You know how much of that book of business I took when I left? That's it.
Zero.
That's it.
Zero.
That's it.
I was told at 19 years old by somebody that's I really respected. He was a mentor of mine back in my hometown. He said, Jonah, you're never going to be paid your worth unless you own that worth. And that stuck with me. And I was like, man, and that's just simple economics 101, where, I mean, to be fair, like if you're starting a business, you're going to pay market value and you're going to try to pay your employees as low as possible.
Right.
In order to perform their job.
Right.
So the only way to get out there is if you either form a business or you partner with somebody or whatever the case may be, but you gotta own your worth. You gotta own your book.
You have to. And Patrick says this a lot, Patrick Bet David, about the entrepreneurs and the intrapreneurs. I always knew in my heart that I'm an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is such a cliche word. It just means that you're willing to risk it all and leave it on the line. That's how I describe it.
Yeah.
Without really knowing if it's going to work out or not. Yeah. But you know, if God put that seed in your heart, it's going to work out because he already made the path for you. But now you need to work. A lot of people just say, God, Jesus, take the wheel. No, you got to let him take the wheel, but you got to get in the car and you know, press the gas. Exactly.
Yeah, God tells you to have faith, but he doesn't tell you to be lazy or be stupid.
So that was one of the main things. And I don't regret it. Thankfully, we got to meet each other, which I'm sure we'll talk more about. But what I was doing that I had to be okay also, not fully believing in myself, as crazy as that sounds. A lot of people want to believe in themselves 100% and have the right plan, which was always my case before taking action.
The security and that safety of a salary.
Correct.
So let's fast forward because so you're in the corporate world for many, many years. What attracted you to not only getting into the brokerage world, but what attracted you specifically to partnering with Prosper and Pinnacle?
Yeah. So the first main thing is it got to a point that you know that you hit a cap in the business. And when you hit a cap at 29 years old, that tells you that you have much more to give. And you know how that starts showing up in your life? By you feeling burned out, by you feeling dissatisfied by what you're doing. It got to a point, man, that I just didn't even want to wake up out of bed. And I don't think I've never shared it with you or like this real. But it got to a point that I was just, COVID happened. We got sent home. We're working from the office. I was literally working from my bedroom. And I'm a people's person. I need to be around people. People give me energy. Yeah. And it started just me feeling very down about myself. And I don't want to make this a soap opera, but that's what clicked for me. It wasn't, I knew I was going to do something, but I think that was God pushing me away and saying, it's time for you to fly. It's time for you to fly. So while I was in that place, that started with the emotion. I have to keep it simple, right? It started with me feeling that way for me to take drastic action. Because I didn't have a lot of savings. If there's something that I didn't do well making that money is that I would try to mirror my dad's lifestyle with what I was making when he was making 30, 40,000, 40 times what I was making. But I wanted to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
With the watches, with the cars, with the belts, all that stuff that I say it's nice, but it's not going to fill your emptiness. So I had to really work on myself first and ask myself, why am I feeling empty if I'm buying everything I'm buying and traveling once a month? You know why? Because I started to increase my debt. So I was just working to pay. So that put me in that rat race for a little longer. So that was the first main thing that was like, I'm making 300K, 200K, 250, 300. But where is it going? So that's where I started. I had a conversation with my wife and I said, look, Mama, I'm quitting, but we're going to do it strategically. It took me about 4 months. I was still inside of the company, but I was already building my own company while being there. And the way I was doing that was doing research. I started reaching out to different captive agencies. I was pretty well connected. Started reaching out to different IMOs. Pinnacle was not even in the picture. Prosper was not even in the picture. I had no idea about Pinnacle. I had no idea about Prosper. Yeah. Zero. And this was just last year.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said, hey, I saw this guy. Blonde, strong, etc. All the attributes. He's like, you gotta meet him. I'm like, who are you talking about? I'm like, that's too MLM-y. I don't believe in that. I don't buy that, right? But the first thing I had to do was just take that leap of faith and get in a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Get in a Zoom call. Get in a Zoom call with you, and we connected right away. And it was through a friend. It wasn't even us. It was through a friend that we met. So life will just throw you so many opportunities. And if you're not willing to take them, if I wasn't ready to take that opportunity, it would have passed me by, and I would have never taken the chance to even meet you because I was just so closed off. And that happens to so many of us, man.
To so many people. I'm thinking about that, where we ask God for blessings, for opportunities, for prosperity, abundance, and God's sending people in our life. God's sending people our way. And think about how many times we have the blinders on, and we're just so close-minded that the opportunities just pass us by.
Right, man.
And it's sad. And I wanna fast forward a little bit too, because you said something important that I want to highlight for a second, where you said, dude, I was taking the vacations, I had the cars, I had the belts, and was living the lifestyle and eating the dinners, but I still felt empty inside. Yeah. So it's very easy for us to get caught up of like, oh, once I'm making this amount, or once I'm driving this car, or once I live in this house or this apartment, then I'll be there, then I'll be happy. But what advice would you give to that person they're trying to find their passion? And I think emptiness is something that a lot of people struggle with and deal with, but they don't talk about. And more people struggle with that than we think.
Yeah. That's a deep question.
It is a deep question.
It's a deep question. I think I had to be okay coming to a conclusion that I didn't need to have passion to get started. I just needed to have purpose. And the purpose is never going to come, or at least it wasn't for me, not all the time, very clear, like with the instruction manual. Sometimes it's just going to come as self-development. It's going to come as a seed inside of you that you know you're made for much more. And it started just like that. So the first thing I did, which is not normal in my household, especially growing up in a Hispanic household where getting mental health or getting help from people that are professionals is looked down upon, I had to be vulnerable. And there is strength in vulnerability. And I had to raise my hand and say, I need help. I need help before making those decisions, but it has to start knowing your value. A lot of people don't look for help, or don't work out, or don't invest in themselves because they don't love themselves enough. And you got to love yourself. So that's when I started looking for help. And the first thing I did was literally go to a self-development coach, life coach, which if I tell that, when I talk to that about with my dad, he just looks at me and is like, man, you just got to wake up earlier and work harder.
It's got to work harder. That's exactly something my dad would say. It's got to work harder.
Man, and I would get so pissed at him. I'm like, you're not hearing me.
But you know what? There's truth in that.
Yes.
There's truth in that, because you find your passion through your purpose.
Yes.
And so
yes.
we were having a conversation the other night where it's like, that the true joy and fulfillment in the things that truly matter in life are the things that nobody can take away from you. Which, when you look at it that way, with that perspective, is truly comforting, because think about, we both have beautiful wives that love us.
Yeah.
And we have women that truly love us. We're in both really good physical health and really great shape. We both prioritize our personal development. We both have a great relationship with God, and our faith is important to us. It's those things. Like, nobody can force you to not work out, or not prioritize your personal development, or not read or pray or spend time with your wife or whatever it is. But it's like the car, like, my McLaren's cool. I wanted that McLaren for a long time, and that was on my vision board, and that was my goal. And dude, I worked really hard for that, and I love cars.
Of course.
But it's like, at the end of the day, it's going to end up in a junkyard.
Yeah.
It's going to end up in a junkyard.
Yeah.
And it's not even a question. It's like, all of those things, or the materialistic things, those are the things that truly matter. And the older I get, the more I appreciate the small things.
Right.
It's like, dude, at this point, it's like, we were just, me and Claudia were just laughing about this, because, with our guys, or taking people out or whatever it is, like, we've been to so many fancy dinners. It's, if me and Claudia are going on a date night, we'll just go get a burger, like something simple. And I appreciate that burger just as much as I appreciate a $1,000 steak dinner.
Right.
So if you can find joy in the small things and the day-to-day process, and what I call it is blissful discontentment, where you're thankful for what you have, and you're happy for what you have, and you're appreciative, but you're always seeking to develop and strive and get more and gain more.
Man, I love that. You say it's blissful discontentment.
Blissful discontentment.
I love that. And I think you will have more cars. You're going to have way more cars. go after that, but don't make that your priority and your self-worth. Like
and
you
don't
said.
lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, because I saw that happening often. But to get to the point here is you got to understand that before you build a business, the business starts with yourself. I am a business. I'm the best real estate there is. I'm the best stock market there is. That's how I have to look at myself, because we're created by God, right? So much abundance within ourselves that majority of the people die without truly taking advantage of their full potential.
Yeah, and it's the saddest thing.
It's the saddest thing. So brokerage model,
Felix,
corporate.
do you know
Go
where
ahead,
the
bro.
most expensive real estate is?
Of course I know.
Where's it at?
Cemetery.
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 Yep. In graveyards, people die with $1 million ideas that they never execute on.
And you just have to take the step forward, brother. And I'm so thankful for people like you and this company, mainly because there's no complacency. There's always much more to strive. And yes, be happy where you're at, but don't get content. Don't just stay there, because we were made to grow. I mean, the iPhone is always coming. I think we're now in the iPhone 18, 17, 16, but it started with the iPhone 1. So what version are we on? Are we in the same version than we were last year and 2 years ago, or what version? And the crazy part is that anytime something new comes out, we're looking at all the features, all the benefits. But have we realized that we have way more features than that, and we sometimes don't even pay as much attention to that? So I just decided to fall in love, Jonah, with my self-development. Let me see how far I can take this. Let me see how abundant I can have my finances, my bank account. Let me see how much more I can get closer to God, be a better son, be a better husband. And that started to become more my priority. Screw passion. I said, screw the passion. I just got to be passionate about being better. And if I wasn't open to that, Jonah, this opportunity would have come my way and I wouldn't have taken action, because when you and I met, it took us less than a day to say, this is where we're going to be at. This we're going to be at. And I'm just thankful for that conversation when we met in December in Chicago. You asked, why Pinnacle? Why Prosper? And I call this way. It's a gold mine. It's just starting. We've been in business for what, a year and a half? Pretty
Pinnacle?
much. Yeah.
Pinnacle has been in business a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Technically, they've been doing it a lot longer, but they've been an official IMO for a year.
For a year. So a lot of people look away from that. I say, oh my God, this needs to be better. This needs to be improved. That's everywhere you're going to go. But do you rather be part of something that's already like a dinosaur, where there's no way that you can adjust and be flexible and improve? Or be in a place where you can be part of that transformational growth and say, I was one of the co-founding fathers, pretty much. I started that. Look at the way they exited. They've been in business 10 years. Do you know when we started, we didn't even have that? That's where I wanted to be a part of. Not somewhere that is already made and it's a cookie cutter approach. I wanted to be part of somewhere that we're always figuring it out every day, because at the end of the day, we will always make sure that we're doing right by our people. And that's made the decision so much easier for me.
Yes. I mean, even everything Pinnacle has to offer now versus when I first started is night and day.
Right.
Where the training, the support, the tech, staff, everything. So, and we're going to continually develop and grow and get better.
Right.
And like you said, is you have the opportunity to be on the ground floor of something. I would look at this like, Pinnacle has already shattered records.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody's done as an IMO more, not even close
right.
to what Pinnacle has done in their first year. And we're just getting started. So look at this is like being on the ground floor of Google or Amazon when they first started.
Correct.
This is the Google or Amazon in the insurance business, in the insurance industry.
Right.
So it's really cool to be a part of, and I can't wait to see what we do moving forward.
It's like that picture. Have you seen that picture from Jeff Bezos where he was in his desk and he had a mess?
Of course.
But everybody's seen just
with the wooden crooked Amazon sign.
Yes.
This is like a makeshift desk that he built in like 5 minutes.
Brother, that picture gave me so much perspective. I'm like, what a blessing to start somewhere. Like, it's literally starting and giving us the opportunity to build there. Because it starts with ourselves. I keep going back to that. I needed to be more accountable and have extreme ownership. A lot of people want to come in and just say, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, I'm not getting the other, and their energy just stays there.
Anyway, those agents are never going to be successful because they're going to hop around from company to company to company to company.
Yeah.
And they're never, because they're not looking at themselves and they're blaming other people.
That's it.
That's like going into a relationship and like, hey, this person is this, and this, and this, and they need to change.
Man,
There's a Bible verse about remove the log out of your own eye before removing the speck in somebody else's. So let's talk about that, because
wow, let's do
the
it.
grass isn't always greener on the other side. And so what would you say of, like, for example, of like, oh, the free leads, I want free leads. What would you say to somebody that's just looking for free leads, free handouts? They want it easier.
You want free? There's nothing free in this world.
But Felix, they told me I could get free leads, bro.
There's nothing free in this world. The only thing free is that God gave us our life for free. Literally, He died for us, right? That's the only way I see it. When I hear something for free, the first thing I ask is, why do you even want it free? And number two is, don't just get caught up on the now, right? When sometimes we are, and we're all humans, right? I am always careful with what I say because we're all broken inside somehow, some way. We all have our flaws. I always have to level set myself that way. We all have our flaws. But when it comes to the business side of things, you want to make sure that you don't want to be looking for free. You want to be looking for, where do I have the most opportunity to grow? Not today, but in year 1, 3, 5, 10. You got to be successful people thinking long-term intervals. They're not thinking on the now. So when you get free leads, it's for free, it's nothing. There is a cost behind the scenes. And I can tell you because I was part of that. Starting in a captive world, everything was free or inbound. It's free and inbound. Well, what does that take? Do I own that piece of real estate? Is that mine truly? Because I can tell you, I already got a bunch of free leads. But when I left, the only thing I had was a 401k. And I cashed that out, baby. And it only lasted me like 6 months. So that's when it clicked for me. I'm like, there's really nothing for free. If it's for free, I don't really want it. I want to know more of who's going to support me, who's going to develop me, who's going to pick up the phone late when I need them, who's going to help me grow my team and bring them to an ecosystem or to an environment where we can all be successful. And you said this can be for everyone, but it's also not for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started at a company that offered free leads.
And how did that go for you?
Well, it sounded great before I signed up, but then I realized the leads they were given to me were given to 25 other agents prior to me, and they were 4 or 5 years old. And I remember I had my first big week. I did 10K, and they rolled me on a red carpet. They're like, "You're a god." This whole they're praising me and everything else. And I remember feeling a little bit sad because I thought the stars would have to be aligned perfectly in order for me to hit this production goal again, because it's just based, like, when the lead flow is thin and you're only getting a set amount of leads per week, it's like, I was the hardest worker.
Of course.
I was the most consistent. They liked me the most. So they gave me more leads than they gave other people.
Right.
But I was still capped on my production goals.
Right.
Where I'm like, dude, it's like, I'm looking at how many leads I'm getting on a weekly basis. It's like, all right, I need this percentage of people to answer the phones. I got to present to this percentage. I got to close this percentage. Of, like, I got to be on point. I got to be on point. And then I come over here to the brokerage role. It's like, I do 10K. It's like, oh, that's normal.
Right.
Why is that? Because of lead flow.
Lead flow.
And I didn't want anybody else to control my business,
right.
because I would have maybe produced 100K at my captive company at a much lower comp.
Right.
My first year. This first full year here, I produced 540, over $500,000.
Of course.
Produced 5 times that of what I would have done, and at a higher commission. So to your point where it's like, dude, if you've ever seen a P&L sheet, nothing is free. Like, somebody still has to pay for the leads, and that's cost coming out of your commission.
Right. There's a cost, bro.
The way I see free leads is like people that rely on food stamps.
Right.
It's like, you just give me my food stamps.
Yep.
Give me my free food. And you know what the food stamps buy? It doesn't buy the whole foods. It doesn't buy the good stuff. It buys the sugar cereal and the sodas. You ever seen people in the grocery store where they're so overweight, they're rolling their wheelchair around with like all their grocery cart filled up with shit?
Like zombies.
It's like zombies.
Like zombies.
Those are the agents that are like, give me my free leads.
Give me. But then stop.
I've never seen a top producer
right
rocking off of just free leads.
And brother, I love that you said that. And this is where I do get passionate, if we can use it that way, because we are always thinking, and we can all be guilty of this. Sometimes I got to call out myself when I get to those, because it happens. Give me. But stop and say, what am I giving? Do I even deserve that? Am I truly showing up fully? When I say fully, are you showing up and giving it a chance at least 90 days? Because what I like, and this may sound kind of unorthodox, is that majority of the people quit. So it gives me more opportunities and more chances because you just have to stay in the game a little longer, but you have to show fully. A lot of people stay in the game, but they come up one day part-time, one day they are here, but they're really not here. So at the end of the day, free or not, if you're not showing up to yourself fully, it doesn't really matter what the lead you're working with, what IMO you're with, because it starts with you. And that's what I liked about here the most, that you have to earn it. And if you're looking to earn it, this is the right place for you. If you're not looking to earn it and you want free, then you're just living in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. And Felix, one thing that I really respect about you is you have a very good intuition and a very good judge of character because you've been around the block.
Yeah.
Dude, you've been doing this for over a decade. So by the time you've been in anything, doing anything a decade is like, all right, this is BS. This is the truth. All right, this person, you're able to read between the lines a little bit. You have a little bit more discernment. And so you brought something up earlier where you're like, dude, I looked into everything else. And a testament to why you're successful and why you're killing it is because your level of obsession determines the level of your business. And the quality of your business is determined by the quality of people that you're in business with. And so I look at Pinnacle and I see the quality of people here. That's most important. Because it doesn't matter where you go. Like, it's very easy. Like, dude, we're all high-level salespeople. Right. So it's very easy for me to get on a Zoom call and like pitch somebody the world and it's going to be amazing and this and that and da-da-da. And everybody does that. But it's like, then that agent joins and they see what's under the hood and they're like, oh, this isn't. And so what's most important to us is being transparent, not only being transparent, but truly offering. And we work really hard and we all have flaws. Of course. We're not perfect.
Of course.
But like truly offering the best opportunity out there and the best structure for agents. So to that point is, what were some other key aspects that attracted you to Prosper and Pinnacle and what made you want to come work here and build here?
Yeah. So the main thing you said, right, is, and it's super cliche, but it's the people around you. Like, number one, I was looking at with the mentor that I'm going to be part of, aka Prosper, aka Jonah and Claudia, have they done it? Do I have anything that I like in them that I would want my life to look like? Because one of the things I may say that I do, or I may make you think that I do, but if you don't inspire me to some point, you don't have my respect. You just don't, because a lot of people just do a lot of this. So one of the first thing was when we went to dinner, and I've told you, I think I told Claudia this the other day, my wife and I were just at dinner with you guys, and the conversation was deep conversations. We're not talking about superficial stuff. We're talking about life. We're talking about building a family. We're talking about growing and making sure that we leave a strong legacy for our family. We're talking about our people. What other are the resources we can provide? Those were the conversations I wanted to be part of, not just blaming this person, blaming that person, blaming the other person. It was all fruitful conversations. And God was in that dinner.
Yes.
And that to me was a big factor. We're talking about the Bible, about John Maxwell, that's what I want to be part of. Number two, the fact that we are so flexible here, which I told this and you and Joe coached me on it. I was like, sometimes I think we can be more strict. It's like, no, we want people to know that this is just an ecosystem where they can build their business. Yes. And I didn't want to just be an agent. And I think that's what sometimes people have the wrong expectation. We really teach you here how to build a business. Let's talk about P&L. Let's talk about marketing expenses. You get your own leads. Oh, do you have a system where you provide leads? Where can I check? No, we'll give you the tools, but it's on you to figure that out, and we guide you. But ultimately comes down to you. So that was number two, just the flexibility.
And
man.
Not only that, but the ROI on leads is the best I've ever seen, because we have a system where we give the leads at cost to the agent. So nobody's making a profit off of those leads, where they're able to get those generated directly to them. So whatever it costs leads to generate, they're handed those leads.
100%. And then three, you know what I appreciated the most, and I still do, which every time I tell this to people, is access. Access. We are in a really big IMO that we're just starting, but you have access to so many leaders that may run different styles of business. One works digital leads. One, let's work the mailers. One, let's work this type of lead. And having that access to people, I'm not in a box where this is the only way it works. We're only using 1 or 2 carriers, which are the best carriers. They're instant approval carriers, just 2 carriers. That's it. But are those carriers putting the client in the best position? And I was like, because I've always been until here, working for only 1 carrier. So obviously you're biased. Why? Because typically they pay the fastest, but are they really the best structure for your client? I don't want any part of that. And here we're very strong by the morals of, if it's not right for the client, don't even offer it.
And that's how you win long term. And that's why we have the best persistency out of any IMO out there too.
Yep.
And we write the best business and we truly care. And God blesses that type of behavior.
Because I don't want it quick. I want to be long term, because when crap gets hard, I want to be around the right people that say, hey, I got your back.
Yeah.
Because it will get hard.
Yeah. Well,
so
last
those are
question,
the 3 things.
I love that. And last question before we wrap up, Felix, and this is a deep one. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So when at the end of your life, say you lived a long life, 80, 90 years old, 100 years old, and you're no longer here, what do you want people to say about you? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want them to see that I was just a vessel of God. I want them to see and hear that I didn't give up because of Felix. I was able to not achieve, but understand why I was called to do in this earth, thanks to my conversation with Felix. And I don't want to make it about me, but I do want to be a tool. And I know I am a tool, a vessel that God uses to bless others. So I want to make sure that people see hard work. People remember excellence. But most importantly, that people remember that every interaction I had with them, even a text or a phone or a hug or a handshake, whatever it is, that I was fully there with them and that they felt my love. Because people want to feel loved and valued. And sometimes we lose sight of that. So that's how I want to be remembered.
That's so good. And what I took away from that, just the word excellence, where that's why I love you. And one thing I really respect about you and what you do is like, bro, everything you do is you do strive to be excellent and you strive to be the best in. And so if people can just do that, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but if you can just strive to be the absolute best in what you're doing and be excellent in it, you will be successful just by simply doing that right there.
Amen. Amen. Whatever you choose to do. And I think, again, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. And that's why we're going to continue to build, because we want to see excellence in others. Not because of us, but because you deserve it. Your family deserves that. They deserve the best version of you. And if you're not willing to give that, I always say, stay in bed that day. Take the day off, but don't show up.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Well, Felix, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. And man, I could not be more excited to see what we're going to build in the next 6, 12, 24 months.
Goosebumps, baby. I know.
Glad to have you on the team, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Love you. Let's do it.